All right. All right, here we go. So, good morning, everybody. This is the Morris County EDC. I have here with me our good friend Steve Ferman, the four-pillar coach. He's here with us celebrating Small Business Week, and we're going to talk about some AI and note-taking tools and best practices. So, I will let Steve take it away, and thank you.
Thanks, Noel. I appreciate it. Let me first share my screen. And put up the presentation. Oh, the presentation's in presentation mode already. That's awesome. So today we're going to talk about data mining your AI transcripts and other data you may have. I assume you can see my screen, Noel?
Not yet. Let's see. Yeah.
Oh, hold on a second. Let me try that again. Of course, there's always technical difficulties. Never
That's
fail.
okay.
Let's try that again. How about now? Can you see? Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. That's why. Zoom. Sorry, my fault. Try this.
I see it. It's coming. Yep.
Is that better?
There you go.
Great. So yeah, we're going to talk about data mining your AI transcripts and other data you may have in your business, bringing conversations into clarity, and hosted by me. So I've been in business for over 40 years. I've built, bought, and sold 8 tech companies. I am a certified chief AI officer. I like to call myself a strategist. I don't know if an officer is the right title or not, but I'm also a ChatGPT prompt. I hate that word at the end because I don't think anybody really is, and there's better prompters out there than me, but I can hold my own. And I am a certified scaling up executive business coach as well, which you wouldn't think it would be important in AI, but most people don't have an AI problem. They have a business operations problem, and they're trying to throw AI at it to fix it instead of leveraging AI to, help them grow and see it. I'll talk about that stuff later on. So I'm definitely afraid of heights. Just me jumping off the 35-foot pole with a spinning top on it. But I did it because I believe in being uncomfortable and uncommon. It's kind of how I feel. I wrote a book called Just Get Up and Drive for Determination, Resilience, Innovation, Vigilance, and Endurance. My lovely daughters, Scarlett and Corinne. I am a United States Marine, and the last 2 companies I exited in 2017. Not about me. So you're all sitting on gold. Do you guys know that? Who here uses note takers? Anybody? Never seen a note taker? Well, I'm sure some of you out there that are going to watch this video are going to be using note takers. Things like Fathom, Read AI, MeetGeek, or maybe use Plod, which is a little recording device. So think about it. Knowledge is power, but it's more than transcripts. It's sales calls, it's meetings and conversations. So what I do is when I record my day-to-day business dealings, especially the sales calls, I'll go back and I'll rewatch them before my next call to see where we left off, what we talked about, and I'll demonstrate a lot of that too. So the reality is very few of us use that data we're sitting on, the intelligence. That's your edge. It's really your advantage. So make every conversation you make, it helps you to get smarter. Instead of walking away with scattered notes or not paying attention when they're talking to you because you're writing down information, let the AI note taker take care of that for you. Okay, it's an always on strategic tool set. Plus you can pay attention, like I said. And they're capturing everything you need from sales data to being your advisor. They'll detect risk, task management, and also knowledge manager as well. Even capture your emotions and your sentiments. So if you ask it, and I'll do some demonstrations in a second, if you ask it, were they paying attention? Were they happy? Were they sad? Were they excited about the product? It can tell the sentiments, what's going on with the other person as well. So this is a demo-driven session. You'll learn how to turn meetings into usable business data, surface what prospects and clients are really thinking. Sorry, I'm moving the screen out of my way. Capture every decision, commitment, and risk, as well as know how to leverage AI to gain better insights. Pressure test your assumptions before big decisions. A lot of people don't think of it like that. And just think about your data differently. That's what we're going to talk about today. So never lose a commitment again. I use Fathom for to-dos and to remind me of what I was responsible for, as well as preparing for sales calls. I choose to use Fathom. There's Read AI, there's Tactic, there's MeetGeek, there's a bunch of them out there. There's Claude. That's just the one that I chose. So I'm going to take you guys to a Fathom screen. And of course, it wants me to log in. It's never fast enough. So just a quick overview of Fathom. I'm not going to get into all the details. What's really cool about it is it gives you a summary of a call. So it tells me, go-to-market strategy reset, problem stages are stalled, and the current go-to-market motion is ineffective. Whatever the call was about, it gives you a summary. But you can also take the transcript and you can copy the transcript out into another tool like ChatGPT or Claude or some other large language model. Or I can just ask Fathom right here in AI, what was the main topics of this meeting? Just talk to it like you would anyone else and talk to AI in plain English and ask it what you're trying to find out. And the go-to-market strategy. So this happened to be with Katie Turner, who's my marketing CMO. She was talking about my go-to-market strategy. Service offering structure, my AI exposure, my AI internet roadmap. So it gives you all the things, but here's the real cool thing. It'll take you exactly to where the conversation was.
See, like your sub-segment within that kind of component.
So it'll take you directly to where that conversation happened that they're talking about here. So ladder structure.
So for the most part, the same.
Okay. So we're going to say that.
You get the idea, right? So you can talk to it here. It takes information that you never really had access to before, and now you can bring it to life. And use products like Notebook LM and other products to bring static information to life as well. But we'll stick to the Fathom and the recording data for today. So never lose a commitment again. I use Fathom for to-dos. I think I mentioned that. Remind me of what I was responsible for. So if I go out here, and this is kind of unique that I learned that, AI is designed to give you what it thinks you want, to please you, to be nice to you, to give you information. Don't always trust it. Always test and verify. But and here's a good example of it. I'll give you an example. It's next steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 next steps here, right? If I go to the transcript or ask Fathom rather, what are the next steps? What are the next steps? It thought to give me 5 suggestions in its summary, but if I dig in and ask it a question, or if I question it, there's a lot more. A lot more next steps that actually have to happen, a lot more than 5. Now you get the idea. So never lose a commitment again. I just hit that one. Stop that. So most people rely on gut feeling and memory after a sales call. That's leaving money on the table. AI transcript mining turns every conversation into a structured data set, a sales strategy you can actually learn from. I have some prompts here. I'm gonna toss in, copy, like buyer hesitation signals, for instance. So was there any buyer hesitation? Lack of clarity on the value proposition. Dan repeatedly stated he didn't understand the specific value Steve brings or how it translates into ROI for the companies he might introduce. So yeah, there was some buyer hesitation, some skepticism. But I would never really know this information unless I had a note taker going and it can help me. The whole idea is, it's not, what do you do tool, it's how can you help me? Also, budget indicators. Hey, where do my budget indicators go? Come back. I'm going to kill some of these. And just talk to it in English. What are the budget indicators? I just want to know what they're thinking about budget terms. Are they in line, out of line, what? So range of 6 to 25,000, depending on the company's size. Software subscriptions are variables, and I can go and actually listen to that section of the audio when we had the chat. How am I doing on time so far? Good?
You're good. You're good. We're at
Great.
11:19. You're good.
Thank you. So use AI as your thought partner. This one is key. I can't tell you guys how important this is. To stop thinking of it as a tool. Think of it as your thought partner. How can you help me find my blind spots? What am I missing? What didn't I think about? What else could I have done? I mean, these are important questions. So you can imagine having a mentor or your coach in your pocket. It's basically what this is. Okay. And you can ask it, how can I help you? Or how can you help me rather test me and find my blind spots and advise me? So here's a good example I did. I was having a hard time closing on clients last year, and I couldn't figure out why. I took my last 12 transcripts or sales calls transcripts, and I went through it. I said, tell me what I'm doing right. I'm not closing deals. Tell me what I'm doing right. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me why I'm not closing deals, and tell me my blind spots. And it came back and said, you're instantly trusted. They know that you're competent. You know what you're talking about. They like you. You demo a little early, so that was key to know that I'm demoing, giving too much information a little early, and they can't articulate what you do to their coworker. I was like, my messaging. So I used to tell people that say like, what do you do? Oh, make sure you have good governance, guardrails, and ethics for your AI. People go, what? Doesn't make sense. Now what I do is I tell people I help mitigate your exposure, mitigate your risk, will help you implement AI safely and securely, which is what I really did the first time, but I just didn't articulate it properly. Without going through that data and asking it, what am I doing wrong? I wouldn't have caught that. I just was, befuddled forever. So, and there's things you could do, like this is Welcome to the AI Driven Leader podcast by Jeff Woods, GEOFF Woods. It's a great book. Highly recommend you guys keep it in your desk next to you, like I do. Never know when you might need it. But this is a quick prompt, and the quick prompt is for context, role, interview, and task. And basically, you fill it out, and it will dig into your issue with you and help you see your blind spots and kind of walk you through it. And what I'll do is, if you want, I can throw a copy of this in the chat. So you'll have the link to this as well. There you go. Really good exercise. So it's not just about transcripts. How about historical data? Old documents for sales records. Old documents like this one prospect that I had that has 40,000 proposals. They do roughly 100 proposals a year for 40 years. And they wanted to be able to go back and look at their old proposals and get good information that helped them get certain bids or they're non-for-profit. So they want to be able to research through their old data. You could use Claude or Limitless, which that's the little watch thing on the far end that will record wearable devices. In the state of New Jersey, you only need one person to know that you're wearing any kind of a recording device. I always tell people I'm recording them if I'm recording them anyway. But be careful because other states require that you notify them. So you just want to make sure that you know the laws in that state if you're going to record somebody. Or do what I do. Just tell them, look, so I can pay attention, I'm going to record this conversation. I don't sell your data. I don't give it away, which I really don't. So, and as a small business owner, you know, it's all that institutional knowledge that you have. When you're unavailable, when you're overwhelmed, that knowledge doesn't transfer automatically. AI transcript mining lets you build a living, searchable business memory that grows with you. Maybe build a large language model, LLM, database for a sales team, or vendor management or a client database to store in a notebook LM, which is searchable. So it's kind of like having a database of everything you have in your head, and you just store it in one of these repositories like Notebook LM from Google or in a large language model, and people can go and then ask questions. And it's really your information. It's your brain thinking, but you're not there. So it's kind of like cloning your brain. But I didn't want to get into cloning because that's a whole other conversation. And ethical concern too. We won't go there. So learn from the past, use your current tools. Don't walk into a meeting unprepared. Know what was discussed last and what they're looking for. Use AI tools. Here's one like humantic.ai, which is works on LinkedIn. And shall I assist? Sure, tell me about me. Leave my messages. Let's go look at Christy Purdue. Now I ask it to know Christy's personality. But this is, I think, a fairly inexpensive tool. I don't know. It's like, I'm not going to tell you just because I don't remember. But I remember it was like 20 or 30 bucks, something like that. But for me, it's helpful because it tells me everything about, this is a fellow chief AI officer, a friend of mine, but it tells me everything about Christy. It tells me what type of personality she has. It tells me the topics that she cares about. It tells me a DISC profile. I'm a DSI, she's a DIS, so we're somewhat compatible. Actually, we get along great. We're very compatible. But when cold calling her, here's some insights, things I should think about. Here's some a script I can use when sending her an email. So it's just, knowledge is power. A lot of people don't think about the benefits of what you can get out of grabbing this information. This is a tool. I don't make any money on it. I'm not affiliated with them. It's just a tool I found and I use, and I like it, so I'm sharing it. Humantic.ai is the name of that company. Oops, sorry. Also, this is running into a meeting. So this was a funny story. This is Lindsay, who's a good friend of mine's wife. She has a business and she needed some help with keeping the contacts up to date. The guy on the far left is the web developer. It even says web dev meeting, which is what it was, web development meeting. And she was talking to me about potentially using AI, and I said, well, why don't you talk to your developer? If he's already written the software, maybe he could just do it for you, so but it was good to be able to go back to the original meeting on October 23rd and prep for my meeting on the 27th, which led to the meeting on the 29th. She ended up not doing anything at the end of the day, which is fine. But, without these information, I couldn't have gone back and been reminded of what the conversations were, and especially when it's like months out. You know what I mean? It's been a while, or maybe it's a year. I get people call me back a year later. Oh, remember we were talking about whatever? And I'm like, no, not exactly, but let me go look. You do 3 or 4 calls a day, you get pretty busy. So every founder has blind spots. This is true. The dangerous ones aren't the problems you know about. They're the assumptions you haven't questioned. After any strategy session or before a sales call, use your own transcript as a diagnostic tool. Here's an example of an RFP. That's a request for a proposal that I did and how I leveraged the transcripts. So this was a fairly large non-for-profit who did work in the government sector. And basically, let me go to the top. This is ChatGPT I'm in right now, just so anybody that's not sure what I'm in. So you can see this long script. I put the person's name in it. And what I noticed was in the last 12 days, because I use HubSpot, and if you don't know it, HubSpot, you can set it to tell you when they open the email. So it's kind of good and bad. It's good to know they're opening it 36 times. It's bad to know, why didn't I get the deal already? You know what I mean? So it's plus and minus. But, and then in the last few days before our meeting, she opened it 12 more times. So I'm trying to figure out what the heck's going on. So I took the information. These are my actual questions and her responses right here. So I took it and threw it in the chat, and I basically said, tell me what is Nicole thinking? That's who this person is. What is Nicole thinking? And it reiterated what I already told it. Yeah, I know that. I told you that, of course. But what's she likely thinking about? Does Steve really understand our world? Is he practical or theoretical? Will he consider risk or increase it? Will he control risk or increase it? Is he the right personality fit? What she may be preparing to ask you about governance depth and practical workflow examples and scope and budget and staff readiness. So, but it gave me all this amazing insight. So I was like, that's pretty cool. Now what I want you to do, let's utilize that information and let's have it run me through an interview like you're Nicole. So I wanted chat to role play with me and be the person I was trying to get the bid win from. Make sense? So it went through, and sure, and my ChatGPT's name is Chloe. How are you? Give us all the sentiments. Let me go to the top. So it asked me a question. All right, let's get into it by having she asked me the question. So Steve, imagine a call asks, I noticed you mentioned a lot about AI governance and guardrails. How exactly will that help? Will that keep our firm ahead of the curve rather than slow us down? And from there we can rip on the headline like that. And I said by having governance in place and guardrails, you're setting the tone for AI and how it will not be allowed to be used in your organization. And then question and answer, question and answer. And what it did was it prepared me by me having it pepper me. And I told them, I want you to pressure test me. I want you to put me through the paces. And I actually had a really great call with her. I did not win the bid at the end of the day, but it wasn't because of who I am or will I slow them down or will I bring more risk. It's because I didn't have as much experience as the other person that was bidding that was high up. Like I was 1 and 2 with this other company because they had dealt more in the government sector. I don't mind. That's fine. But at least I understood why. So knowing the why things are happening and how to get, how to fix whatever you might or might not be doing right or wrong is I think key. What risk am I ignoring? I forget what this one was. I went through my blind spots. I'm just going to the top because it's easier. Oh, this is the same one. I was going through my blind spots. Sorry. Typo. So let's look at some real world cases or use cases. Mining is not theory. Use it to improve your closing rates, detect churn risks, improve onboarding, and document processes. What's your competitive edge? The difference between entrepreneurs and business owners who scale and those who plateau isn't talent, it's not funding, and it's not market timing. It's whether they build a learning system around their conversations. This is the gap that compounds quietly and dramatically over time. And every day you talk about revenue, risk, clients, problems, strategy, and vision, maybe in different forms or words, but basically we all do it for your business. Those conversations are not noise and they're neither are the answers. Leverage your data. By the way, it can be transcripts, it can be a PDF of data, proposals, contracts, anything that's valuable info if mined properly. You actually could take all your medical records if you trusted your provider or you had your own private silos where I'd put it and put all your medical records in and have AI keep track of your medical records. So you go get blood tests now, you go in a year later, it can compare them and keep an eye on. You can set up alerts and have it notify you when things are really out of whack, that kind of stuff. But data's power. Just got to make sure you secure it. And this is how you can connect with us. I have some freebies, some giveaways in there, some free prompts, a free 1 hour consultation. So scan the QR code, and if I can be of any assistance, love to help you.
Thank you, Steve. I'll open it up to any questions from the group. Any questions anybody has for Steve?
Don't be shy.
Yeah, there's no, this is a safe space, so please feel free to ask any questions. And Steve, I can get you connected with the registrants and with the participants at the call too.
Cool. Sorry, but kind of went fast. I was afraid I wasn't going to be done in time.
No, I was going to say we're making great time. I think it's really interesting. I mean, I haven't, dived into a lot of AI note-taking tools. I sort of was somebody who always prided myself, like, I am the AI, I am my own note taker, but sometimes, there are times where you will need it because you just can't, your brain can't, hold and then repeat that information all the time. So.
Right. And it's not that you have to get every fact exactly correct. I mean, we're humans. We're not infallible. But I think it's beneficial to just, recall something from 3-4 months later, but have the details. Where exactly was it left off? Oh, they said they call you back in, a week, and it's now 3 months later. So, you weren't top priority, and that's fine. Whatever it is, it is, And you guys can ask me anything about AI in general if you have a question. that I can help with too.
Absolutely. I mean, and my question, just kind of for the purpose of the call, are these tools sort of low cost, or affordable for like a small business or, mid-level?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean my tool stack's a bit more diverse than your average because I use things like HeyGen to make avatars and Descript to edit videos and things like that. And I also write some programs too, so I use like Claude Code. But for the most part, ChatGPT is $20 a month. Fathom is equally around the same, if not less. Um, what else did I really bring up? Oh, Humantic AI. I think it's like $30 a month, something like that. But for me, it's worth it because it's really detailed information, like how someone likes to be talked to, how they respond well, how they don't respond, and what they respond to. So,
Oh, and there's
so
one more.
Eric says, I'm just getting up to speed with AI. What other chat engines do you suggest outside of ChatGPT? Oh, there's so many. So if you wanted to be in like one system for everything, that would be Google, the Gemini ecosystem, or you'd be a, what do they call them? Googlies or something. They have some weird name for them. Like Googleites, look out. But yeah, that's nice because everything's all integrated together. Claude is really good. So I've found over time in utilizing them that certain ones are better at certain things. So we'll start with ChatGPT, really good for analyzing large data sets, summarization, trying to understand what a bunch of different disparate things are and put them into some sort of an order. So it's really good in that regard, like analytically. It's superior, I think, than others. Claude, I use a lot for writing blogs and for, I actually use, believe it or not, the artifacts and the co-work to write little small applications that will make my life a lot more efficient and a lot faster. So like, for instance, I use artifacts. I wrote a program to give me 3 social media prompts at a time. It asked me for what the topic is. It asked me for the context of what I'm looking to talk about, and then it asked me for the output of how I want it to come out. And then I get it back and I can read them and edit them so they're mine. It's my data that I'm giving it. It's just formatting it a lot better way than I could, a lot more professional looking. So, and then you've got there's a lot of them out there. So Gemini is really good. It's fairly comparable. I think it's got a little bit of Claude in it, but I think it's closer to a chat engine at the end of the day. And there's Grok, and there's a bunch of them out there. I hope that helped.
Okay. Any other questions? I think you answered all of my questions too, which is good.
Ask away.
I just think it's very interesting how you use the AI to strategize. I don't think I think about that a lot, and to say like self-reflect and say what am I doing? How are other people perceiving me? Um, and I think your case studies were helpful, and it shows the advantage of doing that.
Yeah, I think the best advice I can give anybody, especially someone new to AI, is be curious.
Mm.
Ask it, how can you help me? What can you do for me? How should I be thinking about this? If you walk up to a product you've not used, ask it, what can you do? Or maybe ask Claude or Chat, what do you know about me? Or how do I create a good persona so you have information on me? What is this agentic AI? And they're talking about AI agents. If you could briefly go over. Sure. So agentic AI is like agents that where you built them and they automatically do things. They don't have to go back to a large language model to find that information. They've got it stored or they have a resource they can go get the data from. Um, agentic, I mean here, the actual terminology for agentic. So I'm going to go to ChatGPT and I'm going to say define AG and agentic AI. So I'm going to be curious. Let it give me the exact, because I'll mess it up. So agentic AI refers to artificial intelligence systems that can act autonomously. Like I said, I'm not going to go back to the large language model. It said it a lot cleaner than I did. to achieve goals rather than just responding to prompts. In simple terms, agentic AI behaves more like an agent that can plan, decide, and take actions over time, often with minimal human intervention. Hope that helped. I give an example too, real quick. It says a traditional AI chatbot, you ask, what's the weather in Paris? It answers. An agentic AI, you say, plan my week in Paris. It might check weather, find events, book restaurants, and build an itinerary all on its own. So it's programmed to be, self-sustaining, and it doesn't have to keep going back to ask you for information. Sure. I did that on purpose. Not that I don't know the answer, but I want you to see how easy it is, and I can show you the screen. It's just that's it. Just asked it to find agentic AI, and it came back. And whether you're using chat or Claude or it doesn't matter. You're gonna get basically the same information. It might be worded differently. All right, so while I have you guys real quick and no one's saying anything, if you do use ChatGPT, I want you to click on your name, and I'm going to teach you how to protect yourself. Click on Settings, and then Data Controls, and make sure that Improve the Model for Everyone is set to Off, because this is where you're training the large language model with your data. So while I'm here, I figured I'd show you guys how to protect yourself.
I will use that. That's awesome.
Yeah, Gemini comes default turned off. Anthropic, which is Claude, comes default turned off as well. But ChatGPT, she's turned on. And there's all kinds of stuff you can do in here. You can personalize it. You can give it your persona, tell it what you like. Custom instructions if you want. Tell it things about you to remember. Like I'm telling it, avoid necessary jargon and overly complex sentences. Please structure responses with headers, subheaders, and bullet points where appropriate. So something really important about prompting or talking to like these models is you want to give it what I call RTOC, no RTCO, which is a role. So you're an expert copywriter, you're an expert financial analyst, you're an expert presenter, whatever. Then you want to give it either tasks or you could give it context first. It doesn't really matter, but typically the task. I want you to write me an instruction manual on how to put together this microphone. Okay? You can't say it there, that microphone, whatever it is. And then you want to give it context about the microphone. It's black, it's got, surround sound, I don't know, whatever. And then you want to give it the output. I'd like to see the information and the specifications in a table, which is like a spreadsheet, or however you want the output. So it's RTCO or RCTO, whichever way you want to go, it doesn't matter, but you get the same output. So that's really important. If you do all your prompting with that in mind, you'll get a lot better results instead of just asking a simple question like, hey, write me a book. Okay, about what? About who? Where? What type of book? If you start getting more definitive about it, you get a lot better answer.
If there are no further questions, I guess we'll end today's session. But I do want to thank Steve for jumping in and just giving us all that insight. I learned a lot that I didn't know before. So, but I always do when I talk to Steve. So, no, it's true. But I thank you all for joining us today, and those of you who are going to view this later on. Thank you so much, and please, stay in touch. Check out our Chamber and EDC event calendar for more upcoming events and webinars and things to do. So with that, I will stop recording, and thank you so much.